The Pride Lands hold many secrets. We are all familiar with Kiara, the future queen, and Kion, the Lion Guard leader, who are the offspring of Simba and Nala. What about Kopa, though? Many people think he was the legitimate heir to the throne and Simba's firstborn son. But what if he wasn't, though? What if Kopa wasn't actually the kid of Simba and Nala? The Pride Lands were in chaos following Scar's defeat. Orphaned cubs and rebel lions might have wandered in, seeking refuge. What if one of them was Kopa? To ensure the royal lineage, Simba and Nala might have taken him in and raised him as their own. However, since Kiara's birth, things might have altered. To prevent conflict over the throne, Kopa, the adoptive prince, might have been exiled, taken on a quest, or perhaps lost forever. This idea raises big questions. Was Kopa ever considered a member of the royal family? Was he a cub adopted at a period of unrest? Or was he a lost prince? What would have happened to him if he wasn't Simba's biological son? Today, we are going to explore the idea that Simba's lost son was never truly his. After Scar's rule, the Pride Lands were destroyed. The animals were gone, the grass was dry, and most of the lions either died or ran away. However, what was the biggest issue? The kingdom was unstable after Scar's rule. Rogued lions and orphaned cubs were scattered all over the kingdom, looking for food, shelter, and security. Simba was the new king, and he had big responsibilities. In addition to rebuilding the Pride Land, he had to win back his people's trust. He had to bring the Pride Lands back together. Adopting a cub who might represent harmony and hope could be a better option. This is when Kopa comes in. Fans believe he was Simba's firstborn, but what if he wasn't? What if the royal family adopted him as an orphaned cub to ensure the future of the kingdom? That makes sense. Raising a young prince, whether by blood or not, could have strengthened Simba's hold on power when he was still establishing himself as king. However, things changed with time, and the rightful heir to the kingdom, Kiara, was born. What would happen to Kopa if he wasn't Simba's biological son? Was his departure voluntary? Was he exiled to avoid a confrontation? Or was his destiny far more darker? The mystery of Kopa is profound. Regardless of his status as an adopted orphan or Simba's biological son, Kopa had an important role to play as the representation of stability. Simba made a strong statement with a young prince at his side. The chaos under Scar was in the past, and the royal bloodline was in safe hands. Any persisting dangers, such as rebel lions or Scar's covert supporters, would be hesitant to confront him. Then, however, something changed, and Kiara was born. Kopa, the future king, was suddenly no longer the only heir. His presence became complicated. After the release of The Lion King 2, fans questioned where Kopa was. Why was the little cub not included in the movie if he was Simba's biological son? If not, was he taken out to avoid a struggle for the throne? Disney never mentions Kopa in the Lion King films, despite the fact that the literature establishes him as Simba's firstborn. He seems to have disappeared. Was his disappearance due to an oversight or something more serious? Was Kopa ever intended to be in power, or was he just another player in Simba's political chessboard? This mystery raises bigger questions. Since Kopa disappeared from The Lion King the 2, countless fan theories have been developed to try and explain why Simba's kid was removed from the story. According to one theory, Kopa was driven out because Kiara's claim to the throne would have been jeopardized by his presence. The eldest cub is usually the heir in lion prides. However, Kiara was introduced as Simba's successor in Disney's The Lion King 2. Internal disagreements about the rightful ruler might have arisen if Kopa had stayed. Some supporters believe that Simba expelled Kopa in an attempt to facilitate an easy transfer of power. Others think that in order to prevent political chaos, Simba may have been forced by the elders of the Pride Lands to move away from Kopa. The removal of opposing heirs in order to preserve order is consistent with historical and contemporary monarchy conflicts. Another possibility is that Kopa was concealed in order to shield him from external dangers. Kopa might have been viewed by the Scar-loyal Outlanders as a potential threat to their retaliation. Zira and her supporters could have attacked Kopa if they had known that he would be the real king since he was Simba's firstborn child. In this case, Simba may have sent Kopa into hiding, either secretly within the Pride Lands or to a different pride. Some fiction fans believe that Kopa is growing up elsewhere and will return as an adult to reclaim his rule, though this never appeared in official Disney storytelling. But the most sane explanation is that Disney simply opted to erase Kopa's existence to make place for Kiara's story. The Lion King, 6 New Adventures, where Kopa appears, was written by an external author and was never regarded as official Disney canon. It's possible that the authors of The Lion King 2 were unaware of Kopa or purposefully chose to overlook him in order to avoid misunderstanding. After all, adding a missing heir would have made Kiara's plot more complex and would have taken attention away from the adventure. This idea claims that Kopa was erased from the scene and never included in Disney's intended continuity. Now it is up to the fans to decide which of these theories on Kopa's destiny seems the most likely. Kopa's absence from The Lion King 2 raises one more interesting question. Would he have suffered from the same fate as Keon? Keon leaves the Pride Lands to establish his own kingdom after going on a quest of self-discovery in the Lion Guard. This is consistent with a number of fan theories that speculate Kopa would have followed a similar path, either being removed or willingly leaving to pursue his destiny in another place. Like Keon, Kopa could have developed a sense of pride if he had lived and hadn't been merely wiped for the sake of the story. Maybe he recognized his own strength and leadership potential outside of the Pride Lands, rather than going back to contest Kiara's claim to the throne. By adding to the idea that Simba's firstborn child might still be alive and governing a secret kingdom, this possibility broadens the scope of the Lion King universe. The idea that Kopa would be paving his own way out is also consistent with the Lion King franchise's concept of self-discovery. Kopa may have followed the same path as Keon, who had to discover his leadership before coming back. This theory offers a compelling possibility that keeps fans interested in the mystery of Simba's forgotten son, even though Disney may never acknowledge it. One of the greatest mysteries of The Lion King is still Kopa. Disney never recognized him in The Lion King 2, Simba's Pride, despite The Lion King. 6 new adventures confirming his existence. This resulted in countless fan arguments. Did something deeper and more important take place, or was he just removed for the sake of storytelling? If you look closer at both scenes, the ending scene of The Lion King 1 and the starting scene of Lion King 2, it is evident that both the cubs were different. Many believed that Kiara is the sole heir because Kopa was never included in the film's canon. Others interpret that he was real but suffered a terrible end, perhaps at Zira's hands. Based on this opinion, Simba may have lost a child in the past, which explains his severe overprotectiveness towards Kiara. Even if this is just guesswork, viewing Simba's pride in this light gives it a darker tone. It is also believed that Keon, the main character of the Lion Guard, took Kopa's position. Both have somewhat similar designs, and Keon's journey offers a different route, which leads to Lion Guard instead of controlling the Pride Lands. This suggests that rather than being entirely eliminated, Kopa's job may have changed into something new and exciting. And the simplest explanation of Kopa's absence from The Lion King 2 is that Disney had no intention of having him appear in the follow-up. Movies and books have their own stories and standards. Kopa was not mentioned in the creation of Kiara. Disney probably eliminated him in order to make the narrative simple for a younger audience. Ultimately, though, Kopa's legacy is kept alive by the mystery. Fans still talk about him, speculate about what might happen to him. They even argue that Kopa wasn't Simba's biological son, and that after Kiara was born, Simba abandoned him. People even write their own tales. Kopa is still a fascinating hypothetical character in the Lion King universe. What are your thoughts? Tell us in the comments below, and if you enjoyed watching this video, don't forget to like and subscribe for more such content.